Hi, everybody. As you join the room, we will get started here in just 1 minute. We're going to give everyone a second to get set up. See, our numbers are growing and growing. So we'll give everyone 1 minute to join the room and we will get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsay Shokes. We are so excited that you are here with us for the first of our virtual college exploration for all Indiana students. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us and be with us here today. We have a great program in store for you. So before we jump in, just want to share a few quick housekeeping items with you. So you are currently in Zoom webinar. And so with that, at the bottom of the screen, you should see a bar and a little Q&A button. So that is how we will be able to take questions from you. If you have questions for the presenters at any time, please put them in that Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Your camera and your microphone are currently off, so we are not able to hear or to see you. So the best way for us to hear from you are through those questions in the Q&A box at the bottom. Today marks the first of our virtual college exploration for all Indiana students. So we would definitely encourage you to sign up for additional sessions if you are interested and available. You'll see the full list on the website where you registered for today's session, and we would encourage you to join us. They will run over the next 3 weeks. There will also be a recording of today's session. So if for some reason you have to hop off or not able to join us for the whole session, there will be a recording and it will be shared on this website that you can see. So thank you again so much for joining us. I am going to turn it over to our fabulous panelists now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are, again, so glad to have you join us today for our first conversation of this season here. So we're going to introduce ourselves very quickly, and then we're going to go ahead and get started into our actual session. Hello, welcome. I am Angie Huffman. I'm an Associate Director of Admissions at Purdue University, and welcome to my home office, as you see behind me.
Hi, my name is Victoria Jeffries, and I'm the Regional Admissions Representative for Johnson and Wales University. I say regional because I live here in Indiana. I cover the entire state along with part of Ohio and a little bit of Kentucky, and I am honored to be presenting with my two friends and colleagues.
Hi, Victoria and Angie. It's so glad to see both of you. I'm so glad to see both of you, and I'm so glad to have all of these prospective students joining us today. This is fantastic. So we hope that you find the information that we provide to be very helpful as you begin your college search, or maybe you're in the middle of navigating it currently. So my name is Amay Shireman, and I'm the Senior Associate Director of Admission for Hanover College, my alma mater. And I am also a regional representative based here in Indianapolis.
We have one more colleague who was unable to join us today for today's session, but you're going to see her slides. We're going to do the best that we can to talk about it. She would do it so much better than we, but we'll go through those slides as we go through the other presentation. Her name is Kayla Granville, and she is an IU admissions rep. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the conversation, you guys, and join me, my colleagues here, if you want to add to it, but just the idea of finding or landing on a college major as a high school senior is generally stressful. But with current times, it's definitely added a lot more to the plate of trying to figure out what might be a good idea as far as a future career that equates to a college major currently in today's climate. So we just wanted to start off with the conversation about you guys as students being able to adjust and make those pivots. Ladies, anything to add to that?
I will say that as we talk, please feel free to enter those questions in the Q&A box. If you have a question about IU specifically, we will be able to pass those along to Kayla, and she'll get back to you with those answers as soon as possible. So We want to give you as much good information, but if we don't know the specific questions that you have, we can't answer them. So go ahead and enter those because we're monitoring while we present.
True. So she would have said something very witty and wonderful here at the pivot conversation. We did not memorize what she was going to say. So Kayla or Victoria or Amay, anything to add fun here?
Well, I think we're all tired of the word pivot, and I get it. I understand. But certainly that's what you've got to do. By very definition of the word, that's what's happening right now. And so the next couple of slides will show you how to pivot successfully as it relates to maybe thinking or reconsidering, I should say, reconsidering what you intended to major in or wanted to study, given the current marketplace and given the current challenges that we're facing.
Correct. Yep.
I think a big thing that any of us in the college admission field or college counseling field is we want to try to help students understand if what you really want to do in your heart doesn't exactly fit what everyone else thinks you want to do. That's the purpose of why we're doing this. We don't want to use too many catchphrases or dwell too much on what isn't going right in the current environment that we're in. So let's move through and see how we can give you some good juicy bits to connect those dots between what you love to do and how that can help you in your college journey.
Yeah.
I love this particular point. I think it's really important that students and parents right now, because I'm sure we've got some prospective parents joining us, understand that really you as the student are in control. It may not feel like it, but you really are in control of making this decision, in control of this process. Certainly, we've given you some parameters and things that you have to work with or boundaries that you have to work within. But truly, I think it's really important, and at least I and my colleagues always try to empower our students to remember this is your decision, right? This is your pathway. And so remember that you're in control. So I think that's a really important thing for students to be assured of, especially right now when things might not seem like they're under control.
I'd like to add to that point, Amay, and go a little bit further to know when you do make decisions, know that when any of us make decisions, it doesn't mean that the path forward is 100% laid out before us and planned, and it's going to all work out exactly like we have in our minds and our heads. It means that you've got a starting place and feel good about that, making that decision and having that starting place, but know that as life comes along, changes are going to be made, growth is going to happen, and that's going to be a part of the journey. So embrace that. And I think this was just to sum up her conversation and show a beautiful shot of IU. And if you guys see IU, it is a beautiful campus. So there's really cool pictures that she had to share with us there. We're going to turn it over to Victoria now to continue the conversation.
Thank you. With the idea of what are you going to choose as a major and how can you make money at it? Those are the two big things that a lot of people focus on as one of the main points of how they choose where they're going and what they're going to do. The thing I want to get people to understand is exactly what is a major. We adults ask teenagers all the time, what are you going to study? What will your major be? But I want you to see what amount of work that entails. I want you to see what the trends are. So if there's a major that is more popular, does that mean that you'll be more employable or less employable? And then what are the outcomes that you can combine to have your passions look at that? So let's look at some numbers on the next slide. With most four-year universities, your major is going to be the area of study where you spend the most time. So when you think about a bachelor's degree, it's about 120 credit hours. That's not classes, it's credit hours, because within a university setting, a college course is going to be anywhere from 3 to 5 credit hours. So you're looking at maybe 45 courses that most students will be required to take to finish their bachelor's degree. Some schools will require more credit hours than others, but we're looking at an average. And as you divide how you spend those 120 credit hours is what I want you to think about when you consider a major. Most schools, to declare a major at their university, is going to be somewhere between 40 to 50 credit hours. Roughly a third of the time that you spend at a university will all be in one subject area or department. So when you start considering what you want to major in, what is a class or a subject or a department or an industry that you're interested in enough to take 15 or so classes in the same subject? Outside of that, we'll have some time later on to talk about how to maximize those gen ed requirements, which could make up about 40 of your credit hours. And then the electives, which could be 30 to 40 of your total hours that you use. That gives you the ability to double major or minor or those sort of things. So let's look at what some of the more popular degrees are. Not popular because they're the most fun, but popular in the sense that when they survey universities, of the majors that they are awarding degrees in, these are a few of the ones that historically have always been at the top of the list. English, of course, seems to make sense, but I did list it's most popular because it has a very broad professional interest. Right now, in a time of a lot of political action, most people don't realize English majors become speech writers, or English majors do a lot in communications, not just communications majors, but you can see about the fourth line down, communications and mass media. Any industry that needs you to talk to people and communicate either in writing or verbally, English is important. So you can see the ability in a very vanilla, basic department that it gives you the ability to exercise some flexibility. Where then business and general business, those are things that are growing in popularity because the world has a lot of things that need to be managed. They need a lot of people that are going to work in different areas within the business arena. And that could be in athletics, it could be in healthcare, it could be in education. So all of those could be extremely broad. Nursing makes sense, especially in this day and age of a lot of medical activities and needs that have risen around the world. So let's look at some that people consider making the most money. So when we think about degrees with top potential, it's a no-brainer. A lot of these are within the engineering field. Top potential means that so many of these students will have a employment offer when they graduate because there are slots available and they need people with these specialized skills to meet in there. But I want to draw your attention back to the classics. English, history, those fall into the classics. Again, they have a lot of hiring potential because if you use your course credits appropriately, you could build a minor, you could build a specialty that could make you more marketable as you get older and kind of tie in those things that you really love. But outside of that, let's go on to the next one. To have a degree that can be, that you can get a job, or have a degree that is going to be most popular, you need one that works for you. So take a quick screenshot. This is a survey that you can take online, and it'll actually give you some suggested majors if you're still trying to make up your mind. But did you know that they actually do research on degrees and careers based on how happy you are or how likely you are to keep your job? So the next slide is going to show careers that actually last. You got to click a couple more times. I was being fancy with this one. So this is a list of careers that are the least likely to be unemployed. I use orthodontists as an example. Have you ever seen an orthodontist go out of business unless they retire? Most of these are services that we use regularly. A veterinarian, they just don't close because they don't have any pets to look after. So when you're thinking about how to consider a major, think to the end result of that career, the longevity that you're going to have. The next slide, I like to put it in here because they're actually careers that people enjoy having. These are careers that have naturally a higher satisfaction rate in their jobs. Have you ever gotten glasses from somebody that's mad? I haven't. So again, there are ways to major in something that is your calling that you sincerely enjoy. Next slide, please. So when you're thinking about what am I passionate about and how can I use my time in school to combine that with something that can make me money? There are a few of those as students. Adults will tell you, as adults, you have your hangups. If you major in that, you'll never make any money or you'll always be unhappy. They pick on artists. They pick on people that want to do things in culinary arts or radio personalities. But if those are things that you know you sincerely love, use those those elective credits that I showed you the slide of in the beginning, use those to tack on a specialty. So let's say you want to be an art major or photography. Well, why not kick in a few business or finance classes? Because then you're able to market your skills, or you can actually work in the business department for an art entity. Let's say you want to do something in advertising. Commercial paper advertising is not as important as it was in days of past. So think about public relations. Figure out how you can still study something that you genuinely enjoy and combine that with some things that are still marketable and employable. I think that wraps it up for those. Now, the next thing May is going to discuss is how to use your time in high school to build a cushion for while you are looking for what you want to major in school. But this is my contact information. If you want to scan the QR code, I'm willing to answer any questions about the research I did to make those slides, or even about my university, and I will turn it over to May now. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Victoria.
Yep.
Amazing presenter, amazing information as always. So I hope you guys enjoyed your time, and get ready because Angie's our home run hitter. So she's going to back clean up for us and give you some additional really great information. But what I'm going to do today is talk to you a little bit about how I know that we have a lot of seniors who are on this particular call right now. We also have a lot of juniors and even potentially some sophomore students who are on this call. So I think it's really important that as you are building your schedule, or even as a senior thinking about next semester or that last trimester, that you think about how AP, IB, or dual credit courses can help you with this pivot. Or, so if you're changing direction, right, thinking of something completely new, but you don't want to leave your heart behind, how can you combine them both? AP, IB, and dual credit courses are a great way to help you navigate that. So let's go to the next slide. We'll talk a little bit about why should we take these courses, first of all, because I always think that's important. Whenever anybody tells me you should do this, well, okay, why? Tell me why I should do this so I can make an educated decision. So here's why I think it's important that you consider as you move through your high school career, or even finish your high school career, why I think you should consider taking these courses. AP, IB, and dual credit courses tend to be reading and writing intensive. And we know for a fact that employers, professional school admission boards, graduate admission boards are looking at communication skills as one of the highest assets or attributes that you can bring to the table as a candidate for employment or as a candidate for placement into professional or graduate school. They want folks who can communicate effectively. The other thing that we really, really like is that these courses offer a way for you to sharpen your analytical reasoning skills. And that's important because not only are employers and professional and graduate admission boards looking for communication skills, they're looking for folks who can collaborate, right? Folks who can not only communicate effectively, but can work collaboratively and cooperatively within a diverse environment with a diverse population of people who bring to the table a diverse skill set. And so in order for that to happen effectively, you need to be able to think analytically, think logically, and make data-informed decisions. And a lot of that skill set, teaching of that skill set, can be found through, in particular, AP and IB coursework. Oftentimes, AP and IB coursework will, in fact, weight your GPA. It will strengthen your GPA. And as college and admission counselors, or, you know, we know that the GPA really is foundational, and the transcript, the courses that make up that GPA, those things are foundational to how we make our decisions. So what I like to tell my students is cast the best light possible as it relates to optimizing the advantages maybe that you've had to taking these upper level courses and subsequently showing a weighted GPA that would be higher than just your traditional GPA if you were taking non-weighted courses. Most of us are always going to take whichever GPA is higher, but again, you give that added sort of credit. You get the added credit and benefit of that credit if you take those courses and they are calculated into a weighted GPA. The other thing we're going to talk about is that these courses can earn you college credit. So let's go to that next slide. Most often students, in order to receive credit for AP exams or AP courses after they've taken the exam, they need to have a 4 or higher. Now for IB, some schools will accept standard level, others will only accept higher level. So you need to talk with the institutions that you're considering or do some searching on their website to determine if you're in an IB program, will I get credit for standard level or will I get credit for higher level courses? And if so, what does my score need to be on that final exam and upon completion of that course? Now for dual credit, I think it's really important that students understand, first of all, most of the high schools if not all of the high schools in the state of Indiana are only going to partner with accredited institutions when they secure a dual course or dual enrollment pathway for their students. So very rarely do we ever have to worry about a student receiving credit from an unaccredited institution or taking dual credits from an unaccredited or non-accredited, I should say, institution. Because all of our schools, our high schools in the state of Indiana are partnered with accredited institutions. But that's a qualifier. In order to receive that credit, it needs to come from an accredited institution of higher education. Most often, you need to have a 100 level course or higher in your curriculum in order for that to count. Very often, students will have 0 credit level courses, and those unfortunately won't count toward degree completion or even as elective credit. These courses need to be 100 level or higher, and students also need to have a C or better in these courses in order for all of that degree work to transfer. Let's go to the next slide, Vanna. Thank you. So how do these credits apply toward degree completion? Well, oftentimes you will find that a science equals a science, or a math equals a math, or an English equals an English, right? Sometimes you will find that schools are very specific about which credit they will accept toward degree completion in certain majors. So there may be institutions that say, you know what, AP credit or dual credit in this particular subject area you'd like to study is going to count toward elective credits, right? But we think that we're the only ones who know how to teach this particular major. And so we're not going to let you skip any of the steps. And sometimes schools have crafted a curriculum so carefully that to skip a step really would put you at a disadvantage. So it's really important that you connect with your admission officer. You connect by doing some searching, like I said, online, or talking with your college counselor to say, I've got this credit that's accumulating here, or that has accumulated, and I'd like to know how it will count if I major in English at Hanover, if I major in chemistry at Purdue, if I major in marketing at Johnson & Wales, or business at IU, right? So one of the very easy options that we offer and that most schools will offer is what we call a transfer credit evaluation. Now, I want to caution my students, if you're looking at the dual credit, right, transfer, then what I tell all of my students is that we need to see an unofficial transcript from the institution issuing the credit. And here's why. High school A may be teaching the exact same course as high school B, but they've titled it differently, right? And so in order to make sure our registrars, the folks who will provide you with that information, have the most accurate information as it relates to which courses you are taking and how those courses will transfer specifically to their institution, it's really important that you find a copy of that unofficial transcript. Don't pay for an official. I don't think that's necessary. The school might ask you to, but if you can find an unofficial copy of that transcript, That will be extremely helpful. The same goes with AP and IB scores. If you can get that information on your high school transcript, then definitely work with your counselor to see how those courses, like I said, would apply toward degree completion. I guess the bottom line that I want to leave my students with is that I think it's really important that you, and we'll go to that next slide, I think it's really important that you use the resources and the folks who are here to help you navigate this so that you don't feel like you solely alone are responsible for knowing all there is to know about these types of things. So it's really important that if you are a student, like I said, who has, I like to say you're buying land, right? You're buying land by taking these early college credits in whatever capacity. Now, what you're going to do to build on that land, you may not necessarily know, and that's fine. That's okay. That's what college is about, is figuring it out, right? But if you've got some real estate, some prime real estate, right, within your degree plan by virtue of all of these credits, then I think it's really important that you talk with the admission counselors from the institutions you're considering with, your own college counselor, or you use, like Angie's going to show you, the college or university websites to determine how to get the best return on that investment, how to make the most of that land that you didn't necessarily expect to inherit, but now you get to build on it whatever you want. And maybe that's a second major. Maybe that's travel abroad. Maybe that's education credentials. Maybe it's a couple of minors, who knows? But again, I'm a big champion for these types of courses because I love the fact that they give the student, again, more control over their schedule and their degree plan, and allow for them the opportunity to create perhaps a pathway that satisfies both their head and, most importantly, their heart.
Excellent, May. Thank you so much. Leading me into a wrap up of the conversation today, you guys. So this is just about having more control and power in your hands with regard to this college search and the major search that you're doing. So a long time ago, as you probably like to hear your parents say, back in my day, you oftentimes weren't able to get a head start and to find out information ahead of time before you showed up on campus and started to navigate and figure things out. Well, you guys can, and this is not a tool to use to add more stress and anxiety onto your shoulders. But it is a tool that just gives you more knowledge and hopefully builds some of your questions that you're going to have or should be having as you're going through the process and the journey. But you literally have resources at your fingertips on the website, and that's definitely where you want to start as you're having conversations with the schools that you're truly interested in. As you're building those relationships, you also want to use the resources that they're providing you. The website is the biggest, most immersive type of part or way to start your research journey on the school, on what you want to major in, on what activities are going to be at that place, on what residence halls are going to be. So you can literally find just about anything with regard to what your initial questions are within the website. And I will tell you an insider trader secret is a lot of times when we do get questions as admissions counselors, we go out to our websites and we find the links there that our students are going to want, and we provide you the answer through a link on the website. Because more than us being able to verbalize and tell you what that is, it's all laid out right there already for you. So again, make sure that you're using or taking advantage of the opportunity to get to, especially for the schools you're really targeting, to get to know those schools and the things that they offer. So we're talking specific about majors today. So you get out to the websites, you look up the major. It is going to, first of all, most or all schools should have a plan of study or a detailed list, what we used to find in the course catalog, of classes that you're going to take within that major. So why is this important? It's important because it gives you an idea, first of all, that you know that, hey, if I say I want to be a pediatrician, I know that it's heavy undergraduate science classes that I'm going to be taking. So it gives you an understanding that way, but it also allows you to compare school to school. So as May mentioned briefly in her part, that to be able to say that a chemistry at at A college, it maybe is it a different program than chemistry at B college. So this gives you an opportunity to compare, making sure you're comparing apples to apples as you're going through your journey. So get out there to the websites. First of all, look at those majors that the colleges have. Based on the size of the college that you're looking at, you're going to find some more levels of information there within that part of it. So keep in mind exactly just how much of information you can get there, and make sure you're spending the time to do it. So once you get into the areas and the majors, you're going to find out where they're housed at that university. So what does that mean? So again, based on usually the size of a university, there's some extra additional layers to things that you might need to know with regard to conversations that you're going to have when you start meeting people from the colleges, or just for your own knowledge of how things work. So for example, if you're looking here at these graphics, you can find a College of Science major, statistics at Purdue specifically, is found in our College of Science. Well, at another university, it may be found in their College of Math or math department. So again, just keeping you immersed in information and knowledge. So when you're either meeting folks from that campus, you can sound that you've done the research they know by talking to you, that you've done the research, that you know a little bit more about what you want to do, and they can help further your journey that way. Or just again, for your own knowledge and comparing school to school, how each of them size up to compare to what you really want to do or what you want to get out of that particular major. It's going to be good to know these different layers. Again, so whether there's schools within the college, university you're looking at, whether there are departments within the college or within the schools, or it even boils down to divisions within the school, within the college that you're looking at. So though saying this, it sounds rather confusing, but if you start researching, or if you have already, you're going to see these things on the website available to you. And each tier is going to give you some more information to be able to hopefully then compare to what you're thinking and what you want out of your college experience. So other things that are going to stand out that we get generally as admissions counselors love to get questions about, and we obviously hope we are getting those questions, but more than that, you can also find information yourself by looking out here again on the website. So you've got information about research that's going on within your area, you're the major that you're looking at. If you're at a university, a larger university that has research opportunities, so you can dive deep into that if you're interested. You can find out employment opportunities while you're there as a student on campus within that department or that college or school, or what employment opportunities are after you graduate with that particular major. You can find out what alumni are doing. So they've graduated recently or within the last 10 years or so. You can see where they're working, what their journey has been like, because those we're taking time on our websites to highlight those students' journeys because they're important, and it's really cool just to see where you can go and what you can do based on studying at XYZ university, right? You can also research your faculty. So again, differences sometimes between the larger and the smaller schools is that you have opportunities at a smaller school maybe to sit down with a professor during a campus visit. At a larger school, you oftentimes won't have availability to do that. However, you can learn who your faculty are going to be in that particular major by just studying research out there on the website. Internships or other things. Study abroad opportunities that you're going to have within that area of study. So again, it just goes on and on about how important your time spent on the website of the schools that you're truly interested in are going to help you, are going to be able to expand your knowledge, and hopefully again build questions in your head based on the information you're checking out and finding. And hopefully all of that, it's going to build excitement into your journey of the college search, of the major that you're targeting. All those things are going to come in line just to keep your momentum going, and there's a reason why you're doing it basically. So other things to look at on college websites is the career services information. We get questions probably a couple a day about, okay, tell us graduation rates. Tell us what happens if I graduate with this major, what is my likelihood of going to grad school, or am I going to get into med school? This information is all posted out here on the career services site for whatever university you're looking at. So you can do either finding basically data, or you can do some, again, some career assessment work early on before you even get to that university. You can find out different trends, different opportunities of job fairs that the Career Services Office is having. Again, just multiple information that you have at your fingertips to know just what kind of opportunities you're going to have at that university that you're looking at. So you want to make sure you take time to do these kind of things. Now, if you go through this part of the journey and you're checking out your schools and you're checking out the majors and you've got ideas brewing, but you're completely undecided with what you want to start out to study, know that that's completely normal, and it's a-okay to begin your journey as an undecided student. Most all schools at this point in time have wonderful exploratory programs, undecided programs, undeclared programs, and it is a fine way to begin your undergraduate studies as an undecided or undeclared exploratory major. These programs are built to give students extra resources, extra time to figure out the university, to figure out the majors, to figure out yourself, and then pick a major from there without adding additional time onto your journey. So again, getting you out in 4 years. So that is a wonderful way to begin your journey. And for some of us in the business, we talk about it all the time that we think it would be a good idea for most, if not all, students to start out undecided and then move into a major from there. Because we all know everyone changes their minds. And the idea of changing your major is definitely a big part of the college journey. So why not start in a platform that gives you even playing field and then go on from there. So just keep that in mind as you go. Get to know us, you guys. Admissions offices are available to you. Seriously, that's what we're here for, to guide you and help you along the journey. So email, call, follow us on social media. Right now, with regard to pandemic issues, there's a lot of schools that will only have virtual options. That is completely fine. That still gets you registered for events and tracks you as interest. So it's still good to sign up for those virtual visits, but slowly we're getting back out there where everyone's going to still have opportunities to get out to our campuses and see us if we don't already have visit opportunities on our campuses. All right, y'all. So that's what we wanted to present as an official PowerPoint today. So we would like to now open it up for some questions. So what's on your mind? What can we help with?
I think while we wait for a few questions, each of us can chime in some pointers from our years of experience in working with students, that, because sometimes the question that's not asked is a question everybody is thinking of. The notes I've made during this is have a guide. It doesn't always have to be the same person that helps every student. Wherever you go to school, there should be someone there that's your college counselor, your guidance counselor, but sometimes you can find help from outside sources. So think about experienced family members. Do you know someone that's an admissions consultant independently that can work with your family members? Even could it be that you could talk to someone that does that job that you're really interested in and find out their story, because you may realize what you thought you needed to do to get to that end career that you were interested in. It may not work out. It may not be the same plan that you may realize. So if you could, I wanted a quick snapshot. They're coming in, I love questions. So, you know, find the guide that you need to help with that. So there was a question, could you put my slides up again? You would like to take a snapshot of them. So Angie can put those back up, but do keep in mind, you can go back to oacac.org and the full recording of all of our presentations will be on there again. And
that's InACAC.
what did I say? Oh my
Girl,
gosh.
don't you mix this up with Ohio. No way. Indiana. Loud and proud.
Okay, InACAC.
There we
Sure,
go.
Victoria.
There we go. There we go. You know, I want to add to what you just mentioned very quickly. The thing that I find most interesting right now is that for students who are interested, let's say in medicine, in law, in engineering, I think not only a really good question to ask is, what did you think of X, Y, or Z institution? Did you feel like you were prepared? Did you have access to internships? Were you readily placed in a job or a graduate school program? I mean, how successful did this particular college or university position you for that next step? I think that's important, but I also think it's really important that you ask, what didn't you take that you wish you would have taken in preparation for a career in X, Y, or Z, because it's all changed. It's all changed. So I know a lot of engineering folks who have said, I wish I would have taken more writing courses, more communication courses, so that I was better prepared to present plans and proposals that I'm expected to provide clients. I know a lot of folks who say they depend on research skills. They depend on perhaps elementary Spanish that they sort of recall, but boy, do they wish they had gone ahead and added that as a double major, because so many of their clients or the populations with whom they're working are speaking Spanish or French or German or Chinese, Mandarin, whatever it might be. So I just think it's important that you ask, not only did the program prepare me to do or prepare you, but what other courses would you have taken along the way that you feel would have better prepared you for the career as it exists now in 2020, 2021, 22, and so forth? I hope that made sense. It did in my head, but that's a special place. So.
I agree, May. I've known you for a while now, so I know how special that place is in your head.
And will you put up May's email address again, please, for Miss Claire that's on?
And then we've got questions about changing majors, and I think we probably all in our own personal journeys can talk to that. So it is a quite normal process to start in one area. Oh, May, where was your? Are you at the very beginning?
First slide.
I think I'm at the beginning.
Yep, there we are. Completely normal part of the journey to start in one area and realize as you're going through and learning again about yourself, about that school, about the different majors on the campus and different faculty and classes, you get inspired to change your mind, and that's perfectly fine. You know, the caveat with this conversation is if you do it your junior year of college, then you could potentially, based on what you want to change your major to, add more time onto your undergraduate journey. That's what you want to avoid if at all possible. You want to make sure your undergraduate's done in 4 years or less. So you really want to be wise about decisions about changing majors and not just randomly make the change. Talk to people, talk to your academic advisors, talk to your faculty members in those areas, and really get a good feel before you make a move to change those majors. Ladies, do you have other things to add to that?
I do want to ask a question because you're a Big Ten institution. So I'm curious, what if I'm a student who has a foot in both camps, right? I love arts, but I'm also really good at science. Is there a way for me, after I declare one of those as my primary major when applying to Purdue or IU or what have you, is there a way that I can still take classes in those other areas, even if it's in a different college?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yes, and not only does the world want well-rounded people to be able, like May you addressed too, to be able to work with people from all over and make decisions despite different ideas and thoughts and stuff. That the whole idea of education is to learn and grow from within as well as just the outside experience too. So yes. Now, some majors are going to be more difficult with regard to the requirements that Victoria laid out with, how many credit hours you have to get in and stuff. But yes, you can embrace a well-rounded and continue things you're passionate about as well as study what you want to get a job in. So
awesome.
I saw Lindsay and I panicked that she's
You
going
see,
to.
Lindsay?
Guys, are we getting close to our time already? These
You
are
getting that hook?
great questions.
Yes. Unfortunately, we are, you all. We are over time, so we have to wrap it up. But if your question was not answered in the chat, we will be able to follow up, and hopefully you got a picture of the screen with all of their contact information. So if you didn't, please quickly put that in the chat, and we can go back to that slide. But thank you all so very much for joining us for the first of our virtual college exploration. And thank you to our wonderful panelists for sharing all of this information with students. When you all close out of the session today, there will be a quick survey. It's just a couple of questions, and we would ask that you complete that survey so we can have your feedback and get your information. So again, that will pop up once you close. We would encourage you and love for you to sign up for additional sessions. You can find all of the sessions and all the places to sign up on InACAC.org. And that will also be the website where the recordings will be available. So if you have a friend that you would want to share this great session with, or someone that you know that is also navigating the college search process, please share that website so you can sign up and also view the recording. But that concludes our virtual college exploration. Thank you all so much again for joining us, and I hope you have a good evening. Thank you.